Welcome in, y'all. Let's talk about a much needed Rangers win. Rangers take the game today against the Twins 6-2, snap a 6-game losing streak. Good to be back in the win column. Thank you all for tuning in today. Y'all know here at Right on Rangers Live, we pretty much cover everything sports, but we put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Good to be talking to you guys about a win today, and we're going to go through all of the key moments of the game. We're going to go through all the major highlights, talking points, controversy. Although there wasn't a ton from the game today, a little bit more yesterday. We were kind of on one yesterday. The Tinoco move, the injuries. We were on one yesterday. Little bit of a tamer show today, but we'll see how it goes. So the Rangers win this one 6-2, and there wasn't too much of the game that was spent in doubt. So the Rangers jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and they really never looked back from there. We had a pitcher today making his major league debut, Gerson Garabito, and he pitched 3 innings of no-hit baseball. Nice to see that. We have been talking. I've been talking a little bit with some people during the game, and it was just not likely. I didn't feel like today that we were going to get quality out of somebody that we had called up from AAA. It just seems like everybody we've called up from AAA has not pitched or performed well. You think about guys like Owen White, Cole Winn had a decent start, kind of faltered at the end. Of course, Jack Leiter has not been good in his 2 starts. So I can't say that today I felt a ton of confidence that Garabito was going to come in and give us anything of quality today. I was thinking along the lines of 4 or 5 earned runs, maybe 4 innings pitched, maybe 5 if we're lucky. But for Garabito to come in today and go 3 innings of no hit baseball, I thought that was 100% a sight for sore eyes. Very, very welcome to see a guy coming up from AAA contributing. I'm going to be checking the comments here and there, y'all, but thank you for joining in today. I see some people coming in on YouTube. What's up, guys? As you know, I'll check comments here and there in between, but appreciate y'all being with me on the show today. Like I said, it's good to be together after a Rangers win. Lord knows we've been talking a lot of Rangers losses the past couple of weeks. Good to be with you guys talking Rangers win. So at this point, we talked about Garabito. We talked about what he put out today. He went 3 2/3, got into a little bit of trouble. I do agree with a few Rangers fans out there. Might have been nice to see him finish out that 4th inning that he was in, but I understand the logic with a young guy who might be making additional starts for you, which I assume Garabito probably going to be making at least one more start if I had to guess based on how the injuries and the rehab and all that kind of stuff is lining up with guys like Evo and Gray. I think Garabito probably going to be making one more start if I had to guess. So I understand the thought to pull him there. You don't want to ruin his confidence. You leave him in there and he gets rocked or an extra base hit, home run, and it really kind of ruins what otherwise would have been a pretty solid day. So I do understand Bochy pulling Garabito in the 4th inning there, as much as it would have been great to see him finish that one out. Garabito didn't necessarily command the strike zone today. 4 walks, not ideal, right? But you can imagine there's some nerves there. Actually, Garabito, from what I had read, never have seen Garabito pitch. I've really only watched minor league highlights when it comes to guys on rehab assignments, if I'm just being honest, or if somebody's really killing it, like a Jack Leiter type. But did not watch a lot of film on Garabito. I think from what I had heard, his command of the strike zone had kind of been what had gotten him to this point, making this major league debut. At least from what I had gathered and read, Garabito had a very good command of the strike zone when he was in AAA and in the minors. And I think today was probably a little bit of an off day for him, a little bit off script of what he usually does. He battled nevertheless, and it's good to see Garabito coming out of this one. Only one earned run, ERA at 2.45 for his major league debut. Can't really complain with that because a lot of the guys that we've seen coming up from AAA have gotten rocked. Leiter's gotten rocked. Owen White rocked. Cole Winn started out the first, like, what, maybe week or two. Cole Winn looked really good and then kind of fell off a little bit. And I know the last time he pitched in AAA wasn't his best outing. I think he took the loss. So it's just good to see somebody coming up from the minor league system pitching well in a major league spot, in a major league debut for Garabito today. So got to give him his flowers today. He came in and gave the Rangers a very solid almost 4 innings when Texas was kind of in a tough spot today with the injuries and just without everything had fallen into place in the rotation. So good for Garabito. Happy for him. Hopefully, he'll get one additional start and be able to do something similar. Always ideal when you can at least get 5 innings out of the starter, but we'll take 3 2/3 today. We'll take that. Jonathan Hernandez comes in relief. Might as well just go through all the pitchers today, huh? Jonathan Hernandez comes in relief, gives up the double to Correa to make it at the time a four, excuse me, a 6-2 ball game. So that's really the only blemish on the bullpen. Bullpen otherwise came in and pretty much shut it down. I mean, they did. Yeah, bullpen, Latz and Leclerc combined 4 1/3 innings pitched. Latz and Leclerc, 3 strikeouts, no hits, no walks. So props to Latz and Leclerc today. No hits, no walks, and 4 1/3 combined innings pitched and 3 strikeouts. Good to see both those guys going multiple innings today and throwing it well. So Hernandez is the only Ranger bullpen arm that gives up a run. So collectively, the bullpen goes 5 1/3 innings pitched with 1 earned run. You'll take that out of your bullpen any day. And we know the bullpen needed a little redemption today. The bullpen, of course, yesterday giving up some runs. You had Tinoco coming in. And I know that there were some weird calls with Tinoco. I went back and kind of watched the tape. It did look like Tinoco was getting a little bit squeezed. I still don't love the move bringing in Tinoco regardless, but it looked like Tinoco did get a little squeezed in some of those at bats that he had. I think he faced 3 hitters. It wasn't a great day for the home plate umpire. You had the weird foul tip thing that Bochy ultimately gets ejected on. We didn't even talk about that yesterday, but Bochy was right to be fired up yesterday after the home plate umpire correctly called foul tip out. The Minnesota dugout was chirping and talked in the home plate umpire to check in with the third base umpire, who, is of course about 100+ feet away. How does he have a better angle? So Boch, right to be fired up yesterday. We didn't even cover that. But Tinoco and the bullpen, they did have some tough breaks yesterday with the home plate umpire. Nevertheless, good to see them getting a little redemption today, going 5 1/3 combined innings pitched, the bullpen for Texas, giving up only 1 hit and 1 earned run with 1 walk. And then Latz and Leclerc don't give up any hits or walks in 4 1/3 combined innings pitched. Great to see the bullpen bouncing back today. One of the, I think, the most positive points of the game from a pitching perspective. Now, let's talk about some of the hitters today. Of course, we got to start with Corey Seager. Seager hitting 2 homers today. We felt pretty good about Seager's chances coming into this one. Corey Seager had absolutely raked off of Pablo Lopez. He had a home run. I believe he was hitting like 667. It was a pretty solid batting average. Seager came into today hitting Pablo Lopez quite well, and he hits 2 homers off Lopez today. That really gave the Rangers a little bit of cushion when they needed it. Siegs goes 2 for 5 on the day with 3 RBI, and he was squaring up multiple baseballs today. Even the outs were loud today for Corey Seager. So he is just on one of those heaters right now, one of those power surges. Seager up to 11 home runs on the season. By the way, I know some of y'all will remember this, but it's been a while. But I did say before the season, Corey Seager's home run prop was at 29 and a half. And I still feel like 29 and a half for Seager is one of the surest bets in baseball, the over. Seager hit 33 home runs each of the past 2 seasons. He's at 11 right now, and we're probably just at about the 33% mark, the 1/3 mark of the season. So it's looking pretty good at this point. I like my chances in that one. Glad we got the W today, though. That's more important than anything else. I totally agree. But Seager looking like his old self, and that is a good thing. We know this offense generally goes as Seager goes, and I'm glad to see him back up to his usual ways, driving the ball, the high exit velo, and the home runs are now starting to come. It's great. One thing though, Seager on a 10-game hitting streak, 20-game on base streak, 7 home runs in this 10-game hitting streak that he's on. Only 9 RBI though. And that kind of shows you, kind of is a pretty solid tell on where this Rangers offense has been at the past couple of weeks. That Corey Seager has hit 7 homers and only has 9 RBI to show for it. So hopefully those RBI numbers can start going a little bit more north with some more guys getting on base for Corey Seager. A lot of solo blasts. And I think to me, that's a little indicative of Marcus Semien struggling a little bit. And I know that Leote has not been hitting in the 9 spot lately. He's been hitting, 5, mostly the past few games. Evan Carter has been hitting 9 spot, 8 spot quite a bit. And we all know the kinds of struggles that Evan Carter's having right now. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. But hopefully we can get on base more for Corey Seager. That is the hope. 7 home runs and only 9 RBI to show for it. That's a little disappointing, but we're going to stick with the positive today. Rangers win. Corey Seager hits 2 bombs. It's a great day. It is a great day. If only the Astros would have lost today, that really would have put the cherry on top. I believe if I'm checking the scores right now. They are up early, 5-0 on the A's, and they have the bases loaded right now. So unfortunate the Rangers aren't going to be able to gain a game on the Stros, but they will still maintain their position ahead of Houston today. That is a good thing. And we'll do our AL West roundup here in just a little bit. Other Rangers with a big day today. Josh Smith goes 2 for 4. Leote stays hot. Leote goes 2 for 4 today. Got to give Leote his props. We've been hard on Leote Taveras. A lot of us Rangers fans have been. He is crushing the baseball right now. If you look at Leote's numbers over his last 7 games, Leote hitting through almost 300 with a home run, 2 RBI. So look, you can't ask for a whole lot more than what Leote's giving you right now. And Leote's been hitting the ball, driving it well. So glad to see Leote bouncing back from a little bit of a tough stretch he was on probably a couple of weeks ago. But I got to say, the past 2, maybe even 3 weeks, you could say, Leote has been one of Texas's best hitters. So I can't get on Leote for anything. He has been playing some great baseball for the Rangers the past few weeks. So good job, Leote. Props to him today. 2 for 4. Had a couple of Ks, scored a run. Good to see Leote with the multi-hit game today. Nate Lowe, another guy who I really thought needed a good bounce back today. And sure enough, 2 for 4, Nate Lowe with 2 RBI. Of course, Nate Lowe had the single that ended up scoring Dolly in the top of the 4th inning. That made it 3-0. Nate Lowe also in the top of the 5th inning, singles on a line drive to score Josh Smith. So Nate Lowe with a couple of RBI single today. Good to see that from Lowe. He was really, really going at a tough clip there after starting off so well. Nate Lowe, I told y'all a couple of lives ago, he was sitting over 300, probably about 2.5 weeks ago. Nate Lowe was over 300 on the season. So good to see Nate Lowe having a multi-hit game, driving in some runs, average up to 258 on the year. Jonah Heim goes over, but he does contribute an RBI. I believe that was on like a ground out or something like that, some kind of fielder's choice. So good to see Jonah Heim at least being productive in that way. Duran goes 1 for 4 tonight, and nothing else too notable from the lineup. Runners in scoring position wasn't great today. Rangers go 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Jonah Heim misses out on a pretty big bases loaded opportunity. At that point, it was 6-2. Would have been nice for Jonah to tack on a couple more there. I don't know if the plan changes at all with the bullpen. I can assume it probably would have. So if Jonah Heim is able to come through, I believe that was in what, the eighth inning, if I'm not mistaken, that bases loaded opportunity for Jonah Heim, eighth inning there. Would have been nice. I think we probably bring in somebody else and Leclerc doesn't have to pitch 2 innings. Now, the nice thing about the whole situation is there is an off day tomorrow. There's an off day tomorrow, so even though Leclerc has to go multiple innings, there's a built-in off day. So if he's needed for the Diamondback series, he probably will be. But it sure would have been nice if Jonah Heim could have come through and tacked on some more runs there. I believe that was, I think I said the eighth inning. That was the seventh inning, actually. So Rangers still need to do a better job, in my opinion, of tacking on runs late. So they score in the third, the fourth, the fifth. They go quiet the sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth. I still would like to see the Rangers putting on some runs late. This team needed a win today. You'll take it however it comes. We're being a little bit picky right now. The Rangers still need to do a better job of tacking on runs, getting those insurance runs. Today would have been really nice. You probably could have brought in another guy at the bottom of the pen and taken an inning of work off of Leclerc, but nevertheless, good to see Leclerc, Latz, the bullpen pretty much shut down the opposing side. I mean, that is what I like to see more than anything else. We kind of critique and break down all the little stuff throughout our show. So that's all we're doing right now. Not trying to be overly critical or anything like that, but something for the Rangers to continue to improve on. Runners in scoring position in clutch moments late in the game. Would like to see the Rangers come up big and produce a little bit more. Lats did get the win today. I'm just checking the comments right now. I agree. Easiest win he'll probably ever pick up. That's from a comment on YouTube from Aaron. So, yeah, I think today, Lats, Leclerc, all those guys, hey, you still got to get the outs in front of you. The Twins are not a top tier lineup by any means. This really was a series we should have won. I think the Twins are a solid team, and they obviously beat us 2 out of 3 games. But I think this was a series we probably should have won. I think we are a better baseball team than the Twins. Wasn't meant to be this weekend, but good to salvage at least one game. You didn't want to make it 7 straight, drop what it would have been 6 games below 500, and then you're going into that series with the Diamondbacks, and you're going into an off day with a loss. Just not good. Just not good. So the only other thing that we really need to break down, I think, from the lineup today is Evan Carter. And I think Evan Carter just probably needs, like I said, to head down and do a couple of weeks at AAA. I think he looks pretty lost up there. I actually saw a stat on X during the game. It's been like 3 weeks since Evan Carter hit a ball. Bear with me here. This is like nerdy analytics stuff. It's been about 3 weeks since Evan Carter hit a ball over 90 miles an hour exit velocity with a launch angle of over 5 degrees. So basically, what the point is, just to keep it simple, it's been a long time since Evan Carter hit a line drive. It's been a long time since Evan Carter hit a solid line drive out or hit in a game. I think it was like May 8th or May 4th off the top of my head. Either way, it's been about 3 weeks since Evan Carter has hit a solid line drive out or hit. Right? We're not even talking about a solid line drive base hit. We're talking about just a solid line drive. So Evan Carter is a little lost up there right now. And I mean, today he kind of had a big moment. Runners on second and third, I believe it was. Let me see if I can pull up the exact inning that it was. But Evan Carter had an opportunity today in the game, a pretty big moment. I think it was the top of the fourth inning. Runners on second and third, and Evan Carter grounds out to the second baseman. I believe the Twins had the infield in at that point. And at that point, it was 4-0. Would have been a great opportunity for Evan Carter to tack on an additional run. And Evan Carter gets a pitch pretty much right down the middle, fastball right down the middle in the top of the fourth inning, and he grounds out. And to me, that's kind of indicative of what we're talking about. A fastball right down the middle, you've got to be able to drive to the outfield, right? You get a pitch right down the middle, a fastball, you got to drive that pitch to the outfield and get a sac fly, right? You had runners on second and third. Usually, ground ball right side does the trick, but when the infield's in, you know the infield's in, and at that point, you're looking for an opportunity to drive the ball somewhere in the outfield. You get a pitch right down the middle, which Evan Carter did in the top of the fourth inning, and you're grounding out still. So it's been about 3 weeks since Evan Carter's hit a solid line drive somewhere. And we're talking about a ball hit over 90 miles an hour. Right. Yeah. I mean, I know line drive can kind of be a little bit of a subjective term at times. We're talking about a ball hit over 90 miles an hour. Been a while since Evan Carter hit a solid line drive somewhere. So he probably needs a little stint down in AAA. Right now, the Rangers have him hitting eighth, ninth, and he's only playing against righty starters. I really don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. Now, I don't know what they're going to have to do when Wyatt Langford comes back. I don't know what the move is going to be when Langford comes back. I think the Rangers have a couple of different options. So I think one option when Langford comes back is Derek Hill. You send Derek Hill down or you send Evan Carter down. I mean, help me out if there's another move that is probably going to be made otherwise, but it seems to me like that's probably going to be the play. You're either going to see them send Derek Hill down when Wyatt Langford is ready to return, or you're going to see them send Evan Carter down. I don't know who else at this point you would send down beyond one of those two guys. So I think for me personally, I would probably leave Derek Hill up and I would send Evan Carter down with the full intention of bringing him back. Unless Derek Hill and or Wyatt Langford just absolutely are tearing it up and the Rangers go on this 2-game winning streak, I would say plan on him coming back in a couple of weeks, maybe after he's gotten right down in AAA. If Evan Carter goes down and struggles at AAA, you've got a problem. And you've got to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what's wrong with him. But I think that they need to send him down when Wyatt Langford comes back. I think they're really walking a tightrope right now with Evan Carter. I said this on the live yesterday or a couple of days ago. I think they don't want to send him down because they don't want to ruin his confidence. But how much are you ruining his confidence by continuing to let him fail over and over again at the big league level? So I think that at this point, you probably got to send him down when Wyatt Langford is ready to return. I never thought that we would be at this moment with Evan Carter, with what he did in September last year and October this year. Never did I think we would be in this position with Evan Carter. But I think with him hitting 188, not even hitting the ball well, it's one thing if Evan Carter is just mashing it, but he's just getting unlucky. I think you could probably live with something like that. Evan Carter is hitting line drives all over the place, but he's just getting unlucky and they're right at people. But that's not really happening. Evan Carter is hitting these weak pop ups and ground balls that are just not productive, even productive outs, right? So today is a perfect example. You have runners on second and third. Evan Carter hits a ground ball right at somebody. And as I'm looking, let me even see if this was like a squared up ground ball today from Evan Carter. Let's see if it helps. Okay, so a hard hit ground ball, 90 miles an hour, not bad. Nevertheless, a pitch right down the middle, literally center cut pitch, 94-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. You got to be able to drive it. So, look, I really don't care if it was a hard ground ball hit somewhere today. Evan Carter's got to be driving that baseball to the outfield on a pitch right down the middle in a situation where you know the infield's in and you've got a runner on third base that can score via the sac fly. So, I really think Evan Carter needs to get sent down when Wyatt Langford is ready to come back. I think that they very well may send down Derek Hill instead. It's not going to shock me if they go Derek Hill option instead of Evan Carter. But I think Derek Hill He obviously hasn't like impressed. I can't sit here and say I'm impressed with Derek Hill. I can say Derek Hill looks like he's got it a little bit more together than Evan Carter does right now. Is that fair? I mean that's kind of how I feel. I'm not wowed by Derek Hill and what he's done with his time. He had a nice little Rangers debut there, 2 for 3 with the walk, but it really hasn't been anything special since then. But I can say he looks like he has it more together than Evan Carter up at the plate. And it's hard. It's so hard, y'all, because Evan Carter is such a likable dude, such a good guy, such a likable player, and he's just struggling. You don't want to send him down. He was a big reason we won the World Series last year. But the facts are you've got options on Evan Carter. You've got however many options, whatever it is, 4 or 5. You haven't optioned Evan Carter one time. So you've got options left on Evan Carter. Option him and give him a chance. Natalie says from YouTube here that maybe the back is still bothering Evan Carter. Look, that could be. It could be that the back is still bothering him. I don't know. Maybe he's not letting on how much the back is actually bothering him, because at this point, if Evan Carter lets on that the back is bothering him, they're really probably going to shut him down. So it's a possibility. It could be altering his swing. Either way, I think the Rangers need to sit him down and look, it's either Evan, we're either putting you on the IL and then you're going on a rehab assignment afterwards, maybe a little bit of an extended one, or we're just sending you down. So if the back's not bothering you, dude, then you need to go down and get right. And if the back is bothering you, we need to take some extended time off. And when you're healthy, we're sending you down to AAA for extended rehab. That's what I would like to see happen with Evan Carter at this point. We'll see what happens. You know, they're going to have some discussions over the off day. You know that's going to happen. So I'm interested and curious to see what ends up transpiring. Me, if I'm making the move, I'm keeping Derek Hill up with the big league club, and I'm sending Evan Carter down when Wyatt Langford is ready to return. I'm seeing how Evan Carter handles it. If Evan Carter, has a mental breakdown, and I know that's being over dramatic, but if Evan Carter has a mental breakdown and goes down to AAA and just stinks it up, I mean, personally, in my opinion, it was the right move. If he's that weak-minded that he gets sent down to AAA, knowing that he's one of the top prospects in our organization and he's going to be given another chance, it's a matter of time. If Evan Carter gets sent down, that we're going to call him back up. He has to know that, right? He has to know that. So if you're that weak-minded that you go down to AAA, pout, wallow, and you just stink it up even more, then it was the right move, right? I mean, to me, that means he probably wasn't going to turn it around at the major league level anyway. So I think at this point, stop worrying about how it's going to affect Evan Carter mentally and just do what the best thing is for the club. The best thing for the club is not to have Evan Carter hitting anywhere in the lineup when he's this bad. That's the best thing for the club. As much as we love Evan Carter, that's what's best right now. All right. So, by the way, speaking of Wyatt Langford, I think we should take a look at how he's been doing. I know that on Friday night he went 1 for 4 with a single and a walk. And let's see how he did last night. Natalie, I know you had talked about it a little bit. So Wyatt Langford last night in AAA goes 1 for 3 with a run scored and looks like it was another single. So Wyatt Langford kind of doing what he's been doing with us, right? The extra base hits not really there for Wyatt Langford. A lot of singles, getting on base. So look, that's a good thing. But Wyatt Langford kind of ho hum so far in his rehab. Can we just call it like it is? I don't think Wyatt Langford has really done anything special down in his rehab assignment. It would have been nice, I think, to see him going multi-hit, maybe getting some extra base hits. Granted, he's been out for a while, so maybe we're having the expectations a little bit too high. I mean, look, I can be real. Maybe it's a little bit too high of an expectation that I'm setting on him. but it just would have been nice, I guess is a better way to put it. Just would have been nice to see these box scores and Langford's tearing it up down in AAA. I can't say him going 1 for 3, 1 for 4 is super, super encouraging that he's going to come back to the big league club and just start killing it. But I think he's going to get an opportunity. I do think if Wyatt Langford comes back from his rehab and struggles, he needs to get the same treatment as Evan Carter. Get sent down, spend a couple weeks, hopefully bounce back, get the confidence back up. And then, of course, we know Wyatt Langford is in the long term plans. He's going to be back up eventually. So here's one guy that I wanted to talk about on the minor league club, AAA. We don't do a lot of AAA stuff. Y'all know that, so bear with me. I know not all of us are invested in the minor league team, but I see right now Andrew Knapp hitting 364 with 132 at bats. Andrew Knapp, catcher, hitting 364 in 132 at bats. I think that's a guy to keep your eye on. I know that they like Kisner. I know that they like Kisner. I know Kisner's got a good glove back there, but Andrew Knapp hitting 364 in 132 at bats at AAA. That's a guy I would like to see come up. I would much rather us have that off the bench. Look, you've got a third catcher, and I believe Andrew Knapp. Is he switch hitter? Yeah, Andrew Knapp, switch hitting catcher. So I'll take Andrew Knapp. I like that. You got a little switch hit action. You also got him hitting 364, absolutely killing it. I'm looking at his bio. Nickname is Nap Time. Love that. Andrew Knapp, Nap Time nickname. Love that. 364, though, that could be a guy against left handed pitching. Now, I haven't seen the splits yet. Let me see if I can pull up his splits right now. Against lefties, he's hitting 353. Andrew Knapp, catcher down at AAA. That's a guy I think you got to keep your eye on. I really think that's a guy you got to keep your eye on. So we'll have to see what the Rangers decide to do with him. I don't know how much longer they can watch him mash left-handed pitching like he's doing down at AAA and not think maybe we need to have that guy up at the big league level. So Andrew Knapp is 32. So obviously he's getting up there in baseball years. What did he do last year? Let me see what he did last year. He was mainly just in the minors last year, huh? Just mainly he was in the minors a lot last year. Let's see what MLB is like. So he has not been in MLB since 2022, and he came up with Philadelphia, and then in 2022 he went to Pittsburgh, Seattle, and San Francisco. So he's bounced around a little bit, but mainly been in the minors since then. I would like to see them give him a look if he continues the tear that he's on right now. And by the way, they play Round Rock plays tonight, I believe at 6:10 Texas time. So we'll have to see. Maybe we'll throw up a post about how Wyatt Langford finishes out his rehab assignment. I would assume Wyatt Langford's going to be rejoining the team on Tuesday when we face the Diamondbacks. And by the way, don't think we're going to see Jordan Montgomery. They showed on the broadcast today we're facing Fott and we're facing Nelson for the Diamondbacks. So no Monty. That kind of would have been a fun game. Look, I don't want to see Monty. So I mean, look, it would have been fun for a second, but then Monty, lefty that he is, probably dominates us. Let's just be real. So I'm glad we don't have to see Monty on Tuesday or Wednesday. I will totally take missing him in the rotation. Lefty starter. Rangers have been terrible against lefties. Don't know how Jordan Montgomery is doing this year. I know that he had a nice little start. Let me see if I can pull up some Jordan Montgomery stats right now. So on the year, we'll see how these stats pull up. Computer's going a little slow right now. Don't mind me. But I don't mind at all that we miss him in the rotation. By all means, don't need to see Montgomery. So looks like this year Jordan Montgomery is 3-2 with a 4.69 ERA. And look, we kind of have to with Jordan Montgomery. We're not going to do a deep dive on this, y'all, but we have to take those numbers, I think, with a little bit of a grain of salt because Montgomery did not have an actual spring training. He actually got thrown in the fire really, really quick. So I don't know if those numbers are vindication that Chris Young and the Rangers front office let Monty go and did not re sign him. But I will say this, something that I said all off season with Jordan Montgomery is he had his best year of his career with us. And it was, I think, noted that in his time with the Yankees and the Cardinals, he had some good postseason performances, but by far his best season of his career was with us. And the dominance that he displayed in the postseason was not something that he had done his entire career. And so with Jordan Montgomery, it was a little bit of a gamble. Were you going to get 4 or 5 years of what he looked like in the Houston series? Obviously, Chris Young in the front office was banking on no. Chris Young in the front office banked on we got the best year out of Jordan Montgomery that he is ever going to have. And look, if I was betting, I would probably bet the same thing. Is Jordan Montgomery ever going to top the year that he had with us, both in the regular season and in the postseason? I would say probably no. I don't think Jordan Montgomery is ever going to be as good as what we saw out of him in our postseason run. If he is, I will gladly be proven wrong. I like Monty and I want to see him do well unless he's playing the Rangers. So I will be more than happy if the Rangers get knocked out of it at some point. Monty and the Diamondbacks are in the playoffs. I'll gladly cheer for Monty. But I think that the Rangers made a pretty safe bet on Montgomery. And so far this season, Monty has not been great. 469 ERA, 141 whip, 24 strikeouts. He has not been worth the kind of money that he was demanding yet. Could he go on a heater? Absolutely. Monty could go on a heater and he could be dominant the rest of the way. He's got that kind of ability. That being said, I think the Rangers made a good decision. Would Jordan Montgomery be nice to have right now from a depth perspective? Yes, he would be. But at the same time, do you want to be paying Jordan Montgomery 25 mil? No, I don't think you do. So the Rangers, I still say, made the right decision with Jordan Montgomery. It just sucks because of all of the injuries that we've had to the starting pitching. It would be nice to have a guy like him, but I think the Rangers in the long run will be better off for not having dedicated $50 million to Jordan Montgomery over the next 2 seasons like the Diamondbacks decided to do. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the Diamondback series a little bit. Rangers are off tomorrow, and on Tuesday, I do not believe the Rangers have announced a starter yet. Now, I don't know if there's any ideas, anything that's gotten thrown around out there. Now, I would assume maybe Andrew Heaney. So let's see. Heaney pitched on Thursday. So Friday, Saturday. So Andrew Heaney would be on 4 days rest if he were to pitch on Tuesday. So I think seeing Andrew Heaney Tuesday is probably a pretty good bet, but maybe the Rangers have another plan. But Heaney would be on 4 days rest if he were to pitch on Tuesday. I don't know who else they would really go to unless somebody else is ready to go. Maybe Dunning. When did Dunning last throw? Dunning last threw on Wednesday. So look, it's either going to be Dunning or Heaney. I would be pretty surprised if we saw something different besides Dunning or Heaney against the Diamondbacks, even though the Rangers have not formally announced a starter. Dunning last threw on Wednesday, so Dunning would be on 5 days rest if he were to pitch on Tuesday. And Heaney, if he pitched Wednesday against the Diamondbacks, would be on 5 days rest. Seems like those are the two guys that are probably going to be getting the start on Tuesday, Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday against the Diamondbacks, we'll see Brandon Pfaadt, who has a 4.05 ERA. Brandon Pfaadt pitched pretty well in the World Series against us. I do think that we hit him around a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to look up Game 3 World Series. I think that was the game that he pitched, just to see how the Rangers fared against him. Let me see if I can get a feel for that. Now, in the regular season, the numbers go like this for career-wise numbers against Brandon Pfaadt for the Rangers. So we've got Jonah Heim, 1 for 2 with the homer. Nate Lowe, 1 for 2. Simeon, 1 for 3. Leote, 2 for 2 with the homer. Seager has not faced Pfaadt at all. Doley is 0 for 2, but does have an RBI. So look, when the Rangers did face Brandon Pfaadt, who's going to be the Diamondbacks starter on Tuesday when the Rangers next play, looks like they did have some success. Now in the World Series game, let me see if I can get a number up for him. I just forget which game he started in the World Series. Let me see. World Series game log. Let's go there and just see how he did. I think the Rangers got to him, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure the Rangers did get to him, but I might not be able to find it live. Either way, I think the Rangers are going to fare decently against Brandon Pfaadt. 4-ish ERA right now. In his one World Series game, he went 5 1/3, gave up 3 earned runs. Didn't Seager hit a home run off of him? It feels like Seager hit a bomb off of him. So Seager was on fire, of course, during that entire World Series and postseason run. But I really think the Rangers are going to be just fine off Brandon Pfaadt. So we'll see how it goes. But I think at this point, the Rangers should be able to get at least one against Arizona. Hopefully, get two. That would be super ideal to sweep the series with the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are a little bit down this year as well. It's actually kind of eerily similar to how the Rangers are doing. Each team, I think, is a few games below 500, and each team struggling a little bit. Yep, Corey Seager did have the homer off Brandon Pfaadt. Marcus Simeon had an RBI against Pfaadt as well. And looks like Evan Carter, even though I don't know how much he's going to be playing this next series, Evan Carter was 2 for 3 in that game. Nate Lowe was 1 for 3 in that game with the walk. So the Rangers have had success off Brandon Pfaadt. I think it's going to be a good matchup for them. Hopefully, we will see the Rangers get 2 wins Tuesday, Wednesday in a World Series rematch against the Diamondbacks. Man, that would be good if today's win was the start of a winning streak. Oh, I would love to see that. That 6-game losing streak, that was rough, y'all. Really rough. That was something that I do not want to see again this season. I pray that that is the longest losing streak of the season, for real. All right, let's do a little AL West roundup, and then we're going to wrap things up for the day. Kind of nice. Mavs play in a couple of hours here. We get some Rangers baseball, get a little Rangers win. We get a little break in the afternoon, and then we get to watch some Dallas Mavericks playoff basketball. Hopefully, they take a 3-0 series lead over the Timberwolves. And Edwards says he's going to be jacking up a ton of shots tonight. I don't know. He may want to do a little less talking. Last time that didn't go so well when he said he was going to be locking up Kyrie Irving. So we'll see how Ant responds tonight down 2-0. I got a good feeling that the Mavs are going to be taking a commanding lead. I don't know. I don't see a whole lot unless the Mavs just really soil the bed tonight. That's the only way I see the Timberwolves winning. Mavericks would just really have to be shooting themselves in the foot, just terribly ice cold from 3 wide open shots. The Mavs just look like far and above the better team. And I don't really see a lot of scenarios where they end up losing this series. Anything can happen, but I feel pretty good about the Mavs' chances to get a win tonight and build on the positive momentum that they started in Minnesota. Now for the AL West roundup. Let's get to it. So we had the Astros 5-1 over the A's right now in the bottom of the 7th. So the Astros kind of had a big bases loaded opportunity. Doesn't look like they took advantage. A's are kind of trying to scrape back in the game, but it's 5-1 right now in Oakland in the bottom of the seventh. Astros are leading the A's. Angels are losing 5-2 at home to the Guardians, and the Mariners beat the Nationals today 9-5. That is your ALS roundup. So as we look at the standings, and I'm going to do a little refresh here because I think some games have gone final since I first pulled them up. The Mariners maintain first place. They are up 3 games in the division over the Rangers. The Astros, with a win, would be back to 3.5 games, still a half game behind the Rangers. We've got the A's 6 games back. They would drop to 6.5 games back with the loss today. And then the Angels would drop to 7.5 games back if that score were to hold. So, still a pretty tight AL West race right now. A lot of mediocrity, a lot of parity in the AL West at this point. Mariners are 28-26 in first place. By far, actually, I shouldn't say by far. The Brewers are 30-22, so a couple of wins better than the Mariners. But the AL West, by far the worst division in the major leagues right now. I don't think that the records really quite demonstrate how good the AL West actually is. I think the Rangers are a lot better than their record indicates. I think Houston is a lot better than the record indicates. So I know the AL West has been getting a lot of crap of late, but I really think that the Mariners, Rangers, Astros are going to end up with good records to end the season. Those 3 teams are going to be battling it out, I think, all year long. And I wouldn't be shocked to see a similar turnout what we had last postseason. And take your pick who's going to win the division. I think I said probably a couple of weeks ago, as much as I would love to win the division, I really don't care. Just get to the playoffs. It's going to be tough to win the division with the Astros and the Mariners being as good as they are. Just get in. We saw what happened last year when the Rangers just made it. So the division is not something I'm overly concerned about. I'm more concerned about making the playoffs. I think we saw sometimes winning the division can actually work against you. I think the Rangers are a kind of team that builds off of momentum very, very well. And I think that they actually were better off for not winning the division last year. I think a lot of Rangers fans would agree with me. And as we look at the wild card standings right now, the Rangers currently are 4 games out of the wild card, 3 games out of first place. So a lot can happen. It's so early in the season. We really don't need to be doing any kind of wild card watch right now, but we're just curious, so we checked it out. But the Rangers, they just got to make the playoffs. Win the division, that would be phenomenal. But I think that it's going to be tough. The Rangers are going to have a good team, I think, down the stretch when guys get back from injury. But I think the Mariners and Astros are each going to be playing better down the stretch, too. It's going to be a fun finish to the end of the year. The Rangers just have to weather this storm, and get back to full health. And I really think this is going to be a different Rangers team. You're going to see the vibes start going up. I think all these injuries do take a toll on the culture and on the spirit of the team. So I think the more guys come back healthy, I think the morale of the team, the vibes, the culture, it's all going to get better. And I think, of course, on paper, the lineup, the rotation is going to get better and better as guys come back. So on a win, on a 6-2 win today, fresh off of it, let's be glass half full Rangers fans today. There are things that the Rangers can continue to get better at, but let's go glass half full mentality. Rangers are on a good flight back to Texas right now. Hopefully, Tuesday, Wednesday, we get 2 wins against the D backs, who are a good, scrappy little team, even if their record doesn't show it. But I think the Rangers at home can absolutely get 2 wins against the Diamondbacks team that hasn't quite hit their stride yet. But are they capable of playing very good baseball? Absolutely. Same can be said of the Rangers. Hopefully, we can build off this win today. 6 runs, we'll take that. We'll take 6 runs. It had been since that doubleheader in Oakland where we scored 12 and ended up winning 12-11 since the Rangers had scored like more than 4 runs. So to get 6 today, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. I don't think we got a whole lot else to cover. It'll be fun watching the Mavs tonight for all y'all that are going to be watching. We'll be putting out some things probably tonight, maybe a little bit tomorrow as well. We won't go live tomorrow as it's an off day, but we might put out a couple of reels, couple of vids, maybe cutting up some short content from our long form today, from the podcast today. So we'll be putting out some stuff over the next 48 hours or so, but we're going to enjoy the day off tomorrow, as I'm sure the Rangers will as well. I want to say thank you so much for all your guys' support. Thank you for watching today, for all the comments, for liking the video. And if you're not following the account, you're watching, but you haven't subscribed to the channel or you haven't followed the account or the page yet, please do so. I greatly appreciate it. And my only other request, if you know somebody that is a big Rangers fan, loves Rangers baseball, or loves baseball in general, please share this with them. Let's grow this community. Let's get more good people talking Rangers baseball and baseball in general, right? And as we always say here at Right On Rangers, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope y'all have a blessed rest of your Sunday. And I hope you have a great week ahead. Hopefully, we'll see you on Tuesday post game for the live. And until then,